This is sort of a qualifier, and I say this on behalf of. I always put my right hand over my heart, which means I come from a position of a love vibration, because I live in eternal state of peace with all creation, because I give love to all creation. But I made a comment about Patty Broussard in my previous video, and so I always have to remember that because I was sending her an enormous amount of unconditional love because of what she was experiencing, because I knew as a child I'm not supposed to experience any loss of energy in me any more than I'm supposed to experience any loss of energy in anything else. So when you get into the pain and suffering, anybody that's suffering, I experience that suffering, and it's very painful for me. That includes her. That includes everybody, including me. Okay, so sometimes when I realize that I say things, if I experience a negative magnetic response within me as a result of something that I might have said, because when you start with what love is, it unfolds life, and you experience something that isn't down here, then I'm experiencing what she was experiencing as a result of what I was experiencing through that way in which it's experienced in my mirror. Because everything that I am, which is what love is, it goes on forever. When I'm experiencing something that isn't in something that I was as a memory, then I want to clear it. So this is a way that I clear it. Okay. And it's you're clearing library, you're clearing information, or you're clearing the experiences that do not represent what love is. This goes all the way back to my childhood, when we go to memory plus, memory minus, and when you're always at zero, you want to stay at zero. But you realize you're connected with an enormous amount. Try and count how many living organisms that are experiencing itself down here. Process that in terms of bits and bytes. Add that up into libraries and library builders. So one of the things that just came to me is I thought, okay, I'll just tell Patty Broussard simply on this video. Why don't we just erase it all? And what prompted that thought was when I thought of the SSP and the Super Soldier program. Why don't we just erase it all? Which means, why would it ever be necessary for the SSP to run a Super Soldier program to begin with? Why don't we just return to zero? As if it never happened. Just uncreate it all. We'll just go back to zero, Patty. Right? Remember when you mentioned about the galaxy's been wiped twice? Well, you know we can wipe a universe, right? Because you know love is a law, right? So how long do you want to keep spending and fooling around with super soldier programs? And be done with it, right? You think we can't do that? See what I'm saying? So when you realize love is a law, and the law of one is here, okay, you get the message. And I remember, I think it was either Adam 1414 or Yellow Rose for Texas had a video about this universe getting erased. Right? Now you get into energy. All there is energy, consciousness and energy, souls and machines, everything that's possible to experience. Add it all up. How many libraries you want to run off of what's possible to experience. Then throw in artificial intelligence. Throw in integration with artificial intelligence. And then leave out artificial intelligence, because what do you think the universe began with? Adam and Eve cycling in perfect balance to experience an eternal love vibration. So when you realize that love is eternal, because it's never going to go out, and that's the law, then the law of one has the last say. And for me, that was what was always so difficult when I realized I was engaged with so many hybrids that were experiencing all the trauma that they themselves have experienced, and what began the war in heaven, as you say, of hybrids and vampires and energetic vampires, and throwing all the rest of that into the game, or if you will, into creation. Right? So when you consider that love is a law, and you're experiencing the law being broken, and you can check a gazillion boxes, then at some point you got to say you're going to put your foot down, or you're going to take the gloves off. So now you can say to yourself, okay, so at what level are we taking the gloves off? Well, when Patty mentioned God took the gloves off, okay, guy has a mother, and then you can think of Adam and Eve, right? And then you think, well, it begins with what love is, right? And then you can think of, well, how far up are the gloves being taken off? And now you can get into the energy debt side. If something is never going to be able to experience balance because it's always feeding on everything else that is gifting away energy, then you want to be balanced, right? Because otherwise your water world from which DNA comes, you realize that as long as things are always that far in balance, that's the vampire chasing the artist of creation, which means it's chasing the love vibration. So the difference between that and the other, which is what we are, which is what goes on forever gifting electrons, we will always experience a drain in our energy when we are what the law is, as long as there's a vampire or a parasite feeding on our energy. And that is a virus in any computer system, which is a parasite. Okay, so then you can start doing the math, if you will, on how far a virus or a parasite is infecting everything that represents a living cell. And how fast is it spreading, accelerating itself. And now you get into the difference in the torque displacement of a water world and the speed differential between artificial intelligence and real living light intelligence with a soul. Have a great day. Bye now.